Hey, Captain Logos here, preacher at large, teaching the word and inspiring 3 minutes at a time. Hey, this is take two, because yesterday when Facebook live streaming crashed, 2 people got to see this, and then it wouldn't reload, so this is a double take. So if you're one of those 2 people, you get a do-over today. All right, so sometimes we need just a little bit more information to fully understand a verse, and sometimes that information comes from sources outside the Bible. That's why it's good to know a little bit about history, culture, and the background and the setting of what's going on so you can completely understand what a verse is saying. So like in John 7:37, Jesus stands up on the last day of the Feast of Tabernacles, and he cries out, "If anyone thirst, let him come after me and drink. He who believes in me, as the scriptures have said, out of his heart will flow rivers of living waters." Okay, well, we know that he's talking about the Holy Spirit, if you know a little bit. And then there's other things he's talking about there. But a few questions should be asked right off the bat of this verse. Okay, why during this festival does he ask this? Why on the last day of the festival? And why the reference to water? Well, some of those questions may not be answered from the Bible. You may need just a little bit of extra sources, but I'm glad you asked those questions. Let's check it out real quick. The feast is celebrating the provisions that God provided during the wilderness wanderings when Israel had left Egypt and they were wandering. And one of those provisions was the water that came from the rock when Moses tapped the rock when they were crying out. They were about ready to die. They were out of water. God provides them water and brings them salvation, right? Through this water. So immediately we can realize, so that's a different verse in the Bible. You know, back in the Old Testament, here we are in the New Testament, and we're looking backwards to understand something that was forward. And so the provision of water, so Jesus is saying, look, if you come to me, I'll give you salvation. And the rivers of flowing water, a little bit of study will point you towards the Holy Spirit. So he's offering them salvation and the Holy Spirit. And so why is the water significant there? Why? All right. In the Babylonian Talmud, which is a collection of rabbinic writings, rabbis wrote from before Christ till about 500 years after Christ, right? So this whole period through Christ, this is how the Jewish people lived and how they did their daily living. So quick search in there. And so basically what happened during this feast, the priest would go to a pool at Gion and carry water back each night during the celebration. And they'd have a special ceremony. And on the last day, it was the greatest day, and it was a little bit more to do, right? So that's why Jesus did it on the last day. The symbology here, you may not get unless you understand the culture. And so they drew water from that well, they brought it back. But oh, by the way, when they brought the pitcher back to the place where they were celebrating, they sang Isaiah 12:3, which says, "Therefore, with joy will you draw water from the well of salvation." This water was salvation. That's why Jesus was offering them salvation. And he did it on the last day because the last day was the greatest. So check it out. So here you go. You have Jesus, the rock, inviting people to drink his water and then also get rivers of flowing water from their heart, which is the Holy Spirit. His water, salvation, the flowing rivers from their heart, the Holy Spirit. At a ceremony celebrating Moses getting water from a rock. And there you have it, folks. Now, get your face in the Bible.